All right, let's talk about a huge myth in the business world. You know the one. The idea that to be a successful leader, you've got to be ruthless. Well, today we're going to flip that idea on its head. We're digging into a totally different approach, leading with kindness and authenticity. And I'm going to show you why it's not just a nice to have, but maybe the most powerful competitive advantage you can have. So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at why kindness is a real advantage. Then, we'll get into what authentic leadership actually looks like. After that, we'll give you a practical toolkit, the how-to, and you'll see it all come together in a pretty incredible case study before we wrap up with a blueprint you can start using right away. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's start with this whole idea of kindness being an advantage. You know, we've all heard that saying, nice guys finish last. Well, we're about to tear that myth apart. So, let's just ask it straight up. Do you really have to be ruthless to get to the top? For like decades, the answer was resounding yes. But you know what? The way we work today is showing us that old playbook is just, well, it's wrong. And here's the fundamental shift right here. The old way was all about fear. You do what you're told so you don't get yelled at or fired. That's just compliance. The new model? It uses kindness to build something way, way more valuable: commitment. This is when your team isn't just clocking in and out, they actually believe in what they're doing. So let's be super clear. Kindness isn't just some soft, fluffy concept. It's a real competitive advantage. Think of it like this. It all starts with building trust and what's called psychological safety. That's the bedrock. When people feel safe to speak up, to try something new, to even fail without fear, that's when you get speed. That's when you get innovation. It's a chain reaction. High trust means things get done faster and, frankly, cheaper. But here's the catch. Kindness has to be real. It can't be faked. And that brings us right to our next point, the pillars of authentic leadership. It's all about building that trust by simply being human. So what does an authentic leader actually do? Well, for starters, they take off that perfection mask. They're not afraid to say, you know what? I don't know everything. And this is a big one. They admit when they screw up. They own their mistakes. Ultimately, it's about integrity, being the same person no matter who you're talking to. That kind of consistency, that's what builds rock-solid trust. Just think about these 5 words for a second. I was wrong, I apologize. When's the last time you heard a leader say that? It's not weakness, is it? It's actually incredible strength. Saying this instantly breaks down walls. It creates a space where it's okay for everyone to be accountable, not just the people at the bottom. This really gets to the heart of it. It's about a huge shift in mindset, from seeing people as human resources to seeing them as human beings. The old view? People are just resources, like cogs in a machine. You use them up and then you replace them. But the new way? It recognizes that people are whole human beings. They have families, passions, worries, a life that exists outside of their job title. Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, right? But how do you actually do it without just becoming a pushover? Well, that's where our toolkit comes in. And notice the subtitle. This is about being kind, which is a world away from just being nice. And here it is, the moment every leader dreads. You've got to give some tough feedback. You have to tell someone that their work just isn't cutting it. So how do you say that without completely crushing their spirit and making them want to walk out the door? It feels like an impossible tightrope, doesn't it? Well, there's a fantastic framework for this called Radical Candor. Look at this matrix. It's super simple. You've got 2 axes, how much you care personally and how much you challenge directly. The sweet spot, where you want to be, is that top right corner, radical candor. It's when you challenge someone, you give them the hard feedback because you care about them too much to let them slide. And this is probably the most important distinction we'll make today. Being nice is not the same as being kind. Being nice is often just about avoiding a fight. You don't want to make waves. You want people to like you. The problem is that lowers standards for everyone. But being kind, that's about telling the truth even when it's hard, because you're invested in that person's growth. You hold the bar high, but you're right there helping them reach it. That's how you create a growth zone, not just a cozy comfort zone. All right, enough theory. Let's see how this plays out in the real world, when a company's survival is literally on the line. We're going to look at the amazing story of Viatech Solutions. So here's the scene. Viatech Solutions looked great on the surface. They called themselves a family. Super nice culture, right? No one ever got any tough feedback. But underneath it all, the company was bleeding. Revenue was diving. Their best people were quitting, and they were staring down the barrel of bankruptcy in just 6 months. That nice culture, it was literally killing the company. So the new CEO, Balwan, comes in, and she brings what she calls the hard head. No messing around. First, she just lays it all out, the brutal, ugly financial truth for everyone to see. Then she performs surgery, shutting down an entire division that was dragging them down. And, maybe toughest of all, she had to fire a manager everyone loved but who just wasn't getting the job done. I mean, these are gut-wrenching decisions. But how she did it is the magic here. She paired that hard head with a soft heart. For every person who had to leave, she fought for generous severance packages, more than what was required. She got on the phone, called her contacts, and actively helped them find new jobs. And she didn't hide. She stood there, face to face with people, and just listened. She let them be angry, she let them be sad, she showed up.
So what happened after all that pain and restructuring? Well, look at this number. Just 18 months later, the company's revenue was up by 45%. 45. They didn't just survive, they were thriving. It was a total transformation.
And if you want to boil down her entire philosophy, her entire success, it's this: tough on standards, tender on people. She absolutely refused to let the quality of the work slide. High standards were non-negotiable, but she treated every single human being with compassion and dignity. That's it. That's disciplined kindness in a nutshell. So let's bring this all home. How can you start using this stuff tomorrow? Let's put together a simple blueprint you can follow.
Okay, here it is, your 4-point plan. Number 1, stop thinking of kindness as a weakness. It's a strength. It's strategic. Number 2, be a real person. Be authentic. Own your mistakes. It's how you build trust. 3, use radical candor. Give the tough feedback because you care. And finally, number 4, remember the mantra: tough on standards, tender on people. Make the hard calls, but do it with humanity.
So I'm going to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Think about it right now. What's that one tough conversation you've been avoiding? You know the one I'm talking about. Now imagine, what if you had that conversation, but you did it with kindness, with real candor? What new level of growth could that unlock? Not just for your team, but for you.